Widowmaker.
Bonjour. Allô, Montréal.
Donc, pas mal, presque tout le monde parlait les deux langues, donc on peut switcher entre les deux comme on veut, je pense. And if anyone really didn't understand something, just wave your arms and I'll translate it into whatever language it wasn't in.
Oh.
Okay, what's that? Okay. Did you have a question? Is that why? Excellent. Maybe someone drove all the way up from New Orleans. Welcome to Montreal, except Benz, you're actually from Montreal.
My hometown. Give it up for
You both foray into acting then with such interesting backgrounds.
What's that word you used? Foray?
For like, how did you break into? Because voice acting is.
You gotta use simple words around me, bro.
Simple words in any of 3 languages, sure.
Yes. I think, I don't know. For me, I just sort of fell into it. A lot of people fall into certain things or fall into their dream job without really trying to get it right. So I just it's actually a short story. So I'll let you. I'll share it with you guys. I was dating a girl who was an actress. At the time, I was a rapper, and she said, "You want to take me to my audition tomorrow?" And I said, "No." She said, "You know, come on, take me to my audition tomorrow." So I said, "All right, cool." So I took her to the audition. I was in the waiting room, and just like in the movies, the lady came out and said, "Are you next?" I said, "No, I'm not next. I'm not going in." She goes, "No, but I need you. I don't have any diversity." So yeah, exactly. So I didn't want to go in, but then when she walked away, when she was kind of far away, I was like, "Well, what is it?" And then she told me what it was. I said, "I can do that, no problem." So I did that 30 years ago, and here I am.
It's pretty amazing. And did you get your start in Australia then, or?
Oh no. I mean, I was 4. So no, but I did start voice acting as a child in France, just because I was an English speaker, and so I was doing like educational kind of things that, you know, well, maybe some of you have, you know, like listened to these things in school. I don't know how you learn English or French anyway. And so that's how I started doing voice work as a kid, and then when I decided to become an actress, I just like pursued both of those fields.
Very cool. I have been told by one of your colleagues actually on Overwatch, Charlotte Chung, who plays Diva, was here last year and said that voice acting is a very, very difficult club to get into, and then once you're in, you're kind of in, and it's easier to find work in there. So is that like, is there a camaraderie to voice actors that you've felt as part of that community now that you're in?
I think voice acting is something very specific to the place you're living in. She lives in LA, and so I think everything that she would like, all her experience is LA based. I find that in LA, voice actors are very, you know, supportive of each other and encouraging. I live in Paris. It's a completely different scenery over there, but yeah, you might say it's kind of a closed club. Yeah, I don't know what your experience has been.
I'm getting excited because something's about to happen.
We're taking some orders.
Did not know we could order drinks.
Nobody, thank you very much. Now, this is apple juice. Just in case anyone's wondering.
I can't tell from where I'm sitting. How many eyes did he wink when he said apple juice? We do have a couple of people who've lined up for questions, so why don't you go ahead and ask the first question.
Hi.
Hi.
So, if you guys play Overwatch, do you play your own characters? Like, for example, do you play Baptiste and Widowmaker, or do you play other characters? Because I know Matilda mentioned she finds that hearing Brigitte's voice sometimes awkward and confusing for her sometimes.
Really?
Yeah. So I was just wondering if you play your own characters or do you try other characters? Just wondering, like, if you guys play, who do you main?
Anytime I've ever played, I've always played Widowmaker. And to be honest, I don't really recognize myself when I hear Widowmaker, so I don't have any trouble with that. I find it quite fun. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good. I mean, you walked away. I thought you. All right, for me, it's not going to be a long story because I only played once. and people who play know how hard it is to play this guy, Baptiste or Baptiste, however you want to say it. So my experience with him lasted about 8 seconds, and so I'm a work in progress, let's say.
Hello, Ben.
Hey.
What is it like for you to play as a real Montreal cop in 1902?
You mean what was it like to portray a police officer in a TV show?
Yes.
How many people have ever seen the show 1902? I see like 40 hands and only 6 people cheering. So how about we get on the same page? How many people see 1902? So I guess you guys know what he's referring to. So the question is, how did I enjoy the experience?
Yeah, yes.
As a policeman, yes, absolutely. I thought it was great because I grew up really being harassed by the police. So for me, when I could finally put on the uniform and harass people on TV, I thought it was great. And then on top of that, in real life, they don't mess with me no more. No. As soon as they see me, they're like, oh, it's you. Oh, you're good to go. Oh, 95 and 30? Nah, you're good to go. So me and the police have a special bond now. So I'm like an honorary member. So it was great for me.
Chloe, is your first language both French and English?
Exactly, yeah.
And when did you start to learn English?
Well, actually, I think English is my first language. My mother always spoke to me in English. But I feel like I usually feel kind of special telling this story, but now I'm in a room filled with people who have been brought up with 2 languages, so I just feel...
The English language is not the same as we do like Australian English and British English, and English. What Japanese cartoons did you voice?
Wow, none.
Is it with like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh?
No, as I was saying earlier, the voice acting scene is very different depending on where you live. Most of these things are, for the English versions, I'd say dubbed and recorded in LA mostly, I'd say. And I've always lived in Paris. So except for Overwatch, which was and a few other video games, I've mostly been doing different French stuff.
Oh, did you in voice acting? Did you have to do some French accent, Japanese accent?
Well, for Widowmaker, I have a French accent.
Yeah, French accent.
My man is on that question 10. I'm gonna make my time useful.
No, that's a lot of damage.
Last question for Chloe. Did you appear in any live television shows or movies?
Yeah, I was on Versailles. Do you have this over here?
Yes, Louis Choquet.
I didn't notice that.
Right. Well, anyway, I've been focusing on writing and voice acting for a few years now. But when I started off, I was doing lots of theater and a few TV shows. Have you seen Valerian, the Luc Besson?
I'll check it out on your social media.
That's a good way to start. Thank you so much.
Yes, thanks so much.
Have a great day.
You mentioned being working on your writing as well. You are a published author in addition to being a voice actor.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah. Actually, I'm finally in a country where people can read my book if they want to. Fuck le régime. Has anyone ever heard of this?
I read the title and I got very excited, and
Yes,
then I realized it was about diets and not governments, and I was a little disappointed, but still intrigued.
Yes. Though diets can be quite a tight regime sometimes.
That's true.
So.
Hello.
Hello.
My question is, how was the process of the audition when, for example, Widowmaker being there at the very beginning of even before the game was announced, she was on the first trailer, so they needed to find out a voice for her quickly, and then having Baptiste, who is the latest hero, added, being that there's a gap of having the game not announced yet to being one of the better known games
release.
That's true. You must have had a very different experience where, for you, Chloe, it would have been an unknown game that's just sort of, no one has played it, and then Ben's, you're coming in with Phenomenon. So what was it like for each of you under those conditions?
So I was completely clueless as to what was happening and what was about to happen. First of all, again, I live in Paris. I don't typically get the Blizzard auditions, etc. The only reason that I did was because they were looking for a French / English speaker. And so they did these auditions in Paris. The first thing I ever recorded was the short film. So that was basically I was very impressed by that. That was the most fun thing to me, was that I was about to do this really cool short film. But I had no idea really of what Blizzard actually was, or represented, how big a deal they were. Andrea Toyas, who you might have heard of, who's our director and casting director, she kind of told me it was going to be a big thing, but yeah, I had no way to realize that I would be traveling the world and stuff. So I basically enjoyed the quality of the work from the very beginning, and that was it. To me, it was kind of oh yeah, I got this audition. Cool.
Were there visuals at all for you to play?
Yeah. There were visuals, and just I think the short film came out maybe even before the game was out. That was such a cool. Has anyone seen Alive here? Yeah. I just love that. All of the short films. Baptiste doesn't have one yet. Not yet. But but I find them all incredible, and
they really are.
Deeply moving, just brilliantly written. I was just super proud that was up, and then everything happened.
Yeah, they really put a lot of work into those shorts as well. I'm pretty sure I cried during the Bastion one.
The Bastion one is so beautiful.
It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
And then, Benz, when you auditioned, it's already worldwide phenomenon. There are these massive tournaments going on and everything like that. What was that like? Was it intimidating?
Interestingly enough, I was clueless as well. I never heard of the game, never heard of Blizzard, never knew that Montreal had a Comiccon. I don't know where I've been living. So, when my manager said, hey, you want to read for this thing? And I'm like, sure, whatever. And then we read for it, and they were like, hey, they're interested in you. We're like, okay, sure, whatever. But we didn't know what it was, right? And then eventually when, Andrea had a talk with my manager, explained to him a little bit what exactly was going on. And then my manager said to me, okay, listen, we should probably do this, I think. So I think it was a pretty good decision. Actually, my manager's in the room right now. He's standing over there. Give him some love right here.
I'm glad you pointed that out, because I was this close to giving them some crap about filming the panel, but you're an exception to the rule.
Je suis toujours étonnée à quel point les gens sont vraiment des amours, et il y en a qui sont vraiment devenus des amis à moi, donc je vais pas donner des noms, ça n'a aucun sens. Surtout si vous êtes sur les réseaux sociaux, vous devez le savoir en fait. Mais ouais, je trouve que vraiment, généralement, le Blizzard a fait un bel effort aussi de créer une belle communauté, quoi.
J'adore comment tu parles en français.
Moi aussi.
Mais malheureusement, moi, je parlais en québécois.
Nous aussi, donc. You're home.
Oui, je suis d'accord avec ma collègue. Je trouve que tous les acteurs que j'ai rencontrés à date de la famille Overwatch étaient écœurants. Vraiment sympa, très sympa. Vraiment, non, c'est vrai, j'avais une joke, mais non, je vais la sauver pour plus tard. Oui, moi vraiment, je suis what she said, I'm down.
C'est quel personnage d'Overwatch que vous avez essayé de jouer contre quand vous jouez au jeu?
Bah, Torbjorn.
Merci. It's an interesting.
Mais par contre, j'adore maintenant faire des conventions parce que déjà j'adore. C'est la seule opportunité qu'on a de voir comment le jeu est reçu, de voir ce que le jeu fait aux gens, de comprendre que le jeu il a une place en fait dans la vie des gens. C'est pas juste un écran, c'est pas juste passer un moment à l'écart du monde, et qu'au contraire c'est une façon pour les gens de se connecter entre eux, j'ai rencontré plein de gens qui se sont fait des amis à travers le jeu.
J'ai vu des gens sur Twitter aussi.
Pardon?
Catherine?
Oui, mais oui, voilà, bah oui. Bon, ça c'est une autre histoire, c'est moi qui ai rencontré Jeffrey, mais...
C'est vous qui l'avez rencontré?
Enfin, c'est lui qui est venu à Paris pour me rencontrer. Non, mais c'est quand même complètement fou. Enfin, c'est génial, mais... bon, bref, donc c'est génial. Mais bon, ouais, donc en fait, voilà, moi, quand on fait du théâtre ou qu'on fait du cinéma, on a toujours l'opportunité de voir un peu en direct l'effet que notre travail fait aux gens. Dans les jeux vidéo, c'est sûr, on est tout seul dans notre petit studio, on fait les trucs, puis après on rentre chez nous, et puis c'est tout. Donc moi, ça me fait vraiment plaisir de voir à quel point ce jeu a une place centrale, et puis surtout, ce qu'il apporte, en fait. Ça, on n'a jamais accès à ça. La première fois que j'ai fait la BlizzCon, tout le monde sait ce que c'est la BlizzCon? La première fois que j'ai fait la BlizzCon, on a rencontré un Make-A-Wish Child, vous voyez ce que c'est? Et c'était incroyable parce que je prenais vraiment conscience que ça avait eu une importance, que c'était du soutien, et c'est là où Blizzard est aussi très fort, c'est qu'avec chaque héros porte un message, porte une culture, porte quelque chose qui en fait devient assez intime. Bref, donc moi j'adore faire des conventions parce que ça donne du sens en fait à ce que je fais.
Ben, j'allais dire premièrement, I hope you know I'm not going to speak French after all that beautiful French. So I'm going to stick to English. It's my third con. And, you know, I didn't really, you know, like I said before, I didn't really know anything about it. I didn't have any ideas, any bad or good ideas. But it's an amazing way, obviously, to meet the fans, to see, you know, the impact that she said that the game has on the lives of not just people in terms of the word people, but individuals. So, you know, I mean, I'm gonna break it down in English, you know, you did the French. For sure, it's an amazing way to, you know, to stay connected and to hear, you know, what you guys want, you know, what lines excite you, what works, you know. So to me, again, it's amazing to be here to see all of you, you know. Me and my manager had a prediction. He said, how many people you think gonna be at the panel? But I'm not gonna tell the number he said. And I sure as hell ain't gonna say the number I said. But it's great. It's great to have you here, and then, you know, we connect on social media and you tag the pictures and everything. It's like a family, right? We're like a big family, so I love it.
We have just a couple minutes left, but we should have time for both of your questions. We'll just try and keep them quick if we can.
Bonjour. Moi, par exemple, je joue en français, et je me demandais, puisqu'il y a eu deux français, est-ce que c'est vous qui avez fait la traduction au niveau de ces deux personnages-là?
Alors, traduction, non.
Ouais, pas traduction,
Mais doublage...
And Ben, it's for you.
Insert applause.
One is, how does the Blizzard company treat its voice actors? So, like, what does a typical day at work look like? Also, are you going to say some lines from the game?
Well, which lines would you want?
Just some.
I have some.
I haven't played it in a while. I don't know what.
Give me one. Give me any. Someone. Go ahead.
I have one.
Please. Cherchez la femme.
One shot, one kill.
One shot, one kill. Anyone for Baptiste?
Yes.
Wake up, Montreal.
Oh, you're welcome. How about a bandage for that?
And so what was your first question? Sorry.
How does the Blizzard
Oh, yeah.
company-
Actually, I think, yeah, we're very lucky. They're very, very careful. I mean, again, I've heard from other voice actors doing these panels that Andrea Toyas actually trains every single person who directs a recording session for Blizzard about voice, about you know, not letting actors get hurt, about letting them, you know, take a break between, you know, when we do all like these dying dying sounds and all of those, like all these screams and stuff. They're very, very cautious about that. You can't record for like over a certain amount of hours. Yeah, they're really cool. And what I love about them is that as an actor, you get directed like you're an actor. They're not looking for, you know, a pretty voice and a cool, you know, intonation. It's got nothing to do with that. They're actually looking for actors, and when you're in the booth, they're looking to meet this character, this person. And I think that's pretty emblematic of how Blizzard works. Again, with like the short stories and the backstory, they pay a lot of attention to the whole package, and I really appreciate that.
Also, how on earth are you able to produce those dying sounds?
We actually die.
Blizzard is on the cutting edge of technology. They have a lot of science that we don't have in the mainstream world. But that is sort of one of the things that you don't know about voice acting from the outside is a lot of the time you go into the booth and you're doing these cool dialogue things and you're making these cool shorts, but sometimes it's just like, give me like 5 pain sounds that all sound different but kind of the same. And it's really, like I've done it once and it's really challenging to make it sound different. Like,
well, me and you have something in common because I've done it once as well. And nobody told me.
You've done it once on a bigger platform than
just a little bit, but nobody told me that nobody was going to respond to me. So usually, you know, when you do a film or like a TV show, you're like, "Hey, how are you?" and the person responds. So maybe I'm not too smart, but I'm like, well, how come there's nobody who's going to respond, right? And then Andrea was like, "No, Benz, you're in this on your own." And maybe it's obvious to you. It wasn't obvious to me. I had no idea that it would be that way. So I had to suck it up pretty quick and be like, "Hey, listen, you better get this right because you're gonna get fired." So that was my experience. But yes, Andrea was the bomb and very precise in what she wanted and what all the other directors that I worked with wanted. You know, so in tune. I mean, one of the guys, I forget his name, I think his name is JD, I don't know if you worked with him. JB. And he don't even speak French, and I was speaking Creole. And he was like, "No, that's not right." And I'm thinking, who is this guy? He don't even speak. And when he explained to me what he said, I'm like, damn, he's right. So, you know, that's because, you know, they know the tone that they're looking for. So for me, it was amazing. I can't say enough about Blizzard. They were amazing.
They're really good at working as a team. Like, everyone gets involved in this process. Most of the time when you're recording, you'll have, like, the writer will be in the room as well, and the developers. And regarding those dying sounds, sometimes someone will actually be there to explain. Like, you're falling off a cliff, but then you hit a rock at, like, you know, this distance, and then you fall again, and you kind of just, like, stumble. And so you have to take all this into account. Yeah, they're really good at just working together and making sure that it is right.
Where can you charge that? By an old German guy wearing armor.
Thank you. Exactly.
That's who I play. I'm a Reinhardt guy.